everybody, Rachelle Jones. Luncheon live at 11:45. It is, if next weekend's the 30th, 31st, that would make today the 23rd? 24th. Today's the 24th of January. So, hi, thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. I gotta be honest, just before I started this, I was tearing up. There's an account on Instagram called Boss Baby Brody. And in some ways, I go back. I want more of that time when, oops, I turned it around. Sorry, everybody. Now, somebody please tell me, how do I turn it back? No, that's not it. Oh, crumbs. There it is. Sorry. So creative I am on accident. Anyway, grief is about moments we wish were different. What they did or what I did. Moments we wish were better. Or what we wish we had more of. And so I was just watching this Boss Baby Brody page for a second, and I started to tear up because I thought, I want to go back. I want to go back to that time where my kids were little and they just didn't care, and they were just so full of who they were. Remember, I didn't know grief recovery all of their life. I didn't learn it until my youngest was maybe 4. She's 11 now, or 5. And then that would make my oldest maybe 8 or something when I learned this. And so the point is, there were situations and things that happened because I didn't know this stuff. And I can see, looking back, knowing what I do now, of gosh, I wish I would have done that differently. And I just see that the spirit of that Boss Baby Brody page, and I think, I wish I could go back just for a minute. I just want to see it one more time. And there's grief hiding in there. And so that's a little bit of what I really wanted to focus on today, was our children, kids whom are in our care, whether they're our own, our nieces and nephews, our students in our class, our neighbors' kids, whatever kid you get to have I don't care if you're in the grocery store and you don't know this child at all, but you get to see them. I want your interaction to be something that is amazing, something that serves them well, and it'll serve you well too, just by proxy, right? So first of all, thank you everybody for being here. Now, let's go back. Grief is just people's reaction to loss. I think a lot of times we think of loss as only death or divorce. Oh, I'm so sorry, who died? Grief is not about death. It can be though. But it's just about any life change. So in particular, today I'm focusing on the change that our kids go through. So kids, we go through with our kids, more or less. So think about it. Sometimes, and it's in movies and TV shows, people become pregnant. They want to be pregnant, sometimes or whatever. Hey, JC, by the way, on JC Mayers, you see JAYCEE Mayers, go check out her page. She invited me to do a live with her today just before this, and it was fantastic. She's got such heart and love and wisdom, and so you'll do great to follow JC and learn from her. She's also a grief recovery method specialist. But she is so deep and so educated in the mental health field that she's really someone you'd like to learn from and follow. So, talking about grief being our reaction to change. So, let's think about it. On TV and whatever, people get pregnant, and you can see sometimes that I'm fat, I'm a whale, I'm this, and, they have all these reactions. And why? Does that mean they're not happy about having a baby? Usually not. Maybe it's often just because their body is changing, right? They're having reactions, emotional reactions, because their body is changing. And then their baby's born and their life changes. They're not able to just do what they want to do. They have to be on a certain type of schedule. They're losing sleep. They're losing maybe even friends. They can't be out having fun. Change, right? We have feelings that brew up when I can't sleep, I can't eat. They just need it all the time. And grief. We put different names on it though. And the different names keep us from healing it correctly. You can't sleep. Even getting a shower becomes so challenging when you have a little baby. Or especially, it's actually easier when they're a baby, when they're a toddler. I don't know. I can't tie them down. It's challenging. It's called grief when you're just overwhelmed and having a hard time. You got those feelings bubbling up on the inside. Your life is changing on you. But the baby is totally normal, right? Their growth is totally normal. And then they grow into becoming a toddler. And the toddler, what we have these catchphrases and we call them terrible twos. Oh, they're a toddler. Are they in their terrible twos? And the thing is, if it's a standard label of terrible twos, that means it's normal, isn't it? Most every child is going to go through it. And is it really something wrong with the child? No. The child's doing what's perfectly normal and natural for that age, which is to be so curious and wondering and just, I need to touch it, I need to feel it, I need to go experience it. But we're not changing with them. We're partly responsible for our own grief reaction. And then they become an adolescent, youth and adolescent, preteen. And what's happening? They're starting to learn that we're not the only ones who make decisions. They also have the ability to make decisions. Their brain's undergoing growth and different things. I don't want to get sciencey. Just very simply, they start going through changes, right? They start looking to their friends a little bit more for approval because we've shoved them out into the world. We've changed their world and we didn't change along with them. Oh, they're just 13 or, oh, they're just 9 for girls, I hear, or you wait till your son turns 10. It's going to be so challenging. What's happening is the children are going through completely normal and natural growth curves and changes, but we're not changing with them. We're expecting everything to be the same, for them to hear us the same, respond to our words the same, for them to care what we think the same, and it's not happening. So it's actually us. We are having a grief experience because we don't know how to embrace the change. Get it? You see how we're going here? And then they go into teens. Oh, you've got a teen? Here's my thing. This is what this is about today. I'm really frustrated with the world putting these labels on teens. I have a teen. He's 14. I have a 14-year-old son. And anytime I mention that, oh gosh, you've got a teen, people just put the world's problems on teens. Did you know your teen is just going through normal and natural stuff, but what's not normal and natural is you and me, the adults. We aren't able to embrace the change because nobody taught us what to do to embrace a change. Incorrect information. There you go, JC. Nobody taught us what to do to embrace the change. We want them to go back to the same. Why won't they listen to me? Why won't they do what I say? Why won't they? Exactly. My son is beautiful. JC, thank you. At 11, I am so with you. I am so with you. And I think that's what this video with Boss Baby Brody is hitting me, is that in adults, or we adults, we want so much to keep our child in this grasp that we had when they were born or when they were toddlers. But our inability to move with the times, move with the changes, embrace the new moment with our children, we are creating grief because we aren't doing anything about it. We're putting this expectation on those children that they're going to remain a certain way, but we aren't willing to do any work ourselves. And this whole, they're a teen, you mentioned the word teen and people get this attitude. Oh, they're just a teen. Oh, everything's terrible. They're just a teen. Have you ever considered some emotional healing, some emotional fitness work inside of yourself so that you are emotionally well and able to embrace the changes and quit slapping a label on it as though you are bigger and better? Have you adults considered this? We say the word teen as though it needs to be judged, smacked down, ripped apart. It's their fault, it's their problem, and I want to tell you adults, I think it's your problem. I really do. You are going to have hard times with any human who walks this earth. Potentially, there's potential for a hard time for any adult walking this earth with any other human who's walking this earth. But when we are so stuck in, well, this is how we want to see it, this is our way. Now, I'm not talking about safety stuff. My son is 14. If he decides he'd like to try marijuana or try some things or do some things, there are things out there that aren't safe. I'm not saying this is license for them to do whatever they want. I'm saying you have to be willing to look inside of yourself and decide what you're ready to change with versus, nope, that's just not happening. and leading your life out of a series of habits, or, well, this is what I know, or this is what my parents did, or this is how I grew up, or this. We have to make really certain, which JC was just talking about this earlier today, making really certain that the information we have is correct. And us simply arriving into adulthood does not mean what we know is correct. Us arriving into adulthood means we survived, but don't we want our kids to do more than survive? Don't we want them to arrive at their adult life able to embrace change as well and not run from it simply because it's different from what they know? The tools and skills you'll learn from a grief recovery method class are backed and proven by science. This method's been around for over 40 years. I guarantee you go check your medicine cabinet, and most or any prescription especially in there, is not been around for 40 years. Did you know that? New medications are popping off the market left and right. I believe they have to go through a 10-year trial period before they can be put out. Grief recovery method has not changed in over 40 years. It may be been able to be shortened, but the method, the steps are the same. The methodology has not changed. That's why it could be proven by science. That's why it's the only emotional wellness fitness program out there that is proven by science, because it hasn't changed a bunch of times. So we can test it and validate its efficacy. So let's see. I have some comments here. Yep, I teach adolescent psychology and teach it from a wholehearted perspective. You see what I'm saying? Go follow JC. And Cheryl, great point. The way you react to their actions makes the outcome sweet or sour. Yes, and sweet or sour for both you and them. And if your reactions are just like shooting because that's what you know, but it's not really helpful or effective, you know what you're doing? You're breaking the lines of trust that you have between you and your child, or any child in your care. And they don't come back just because you decide to wake up one day and I'll just do better. In a class, not only do you wake up and after taking all the actions and say, okay, I can be better, but you also learn how to do some repair from the past. You've got to be willing to dig. I mean, think about it. If you're married or in some sort of romantic relationship and someone has an affair, do you just act like it never happened and start from that day forward and never remember anything from the past? No, right? Now your trust is a little bit damaged. Everything is like, I don't know, what are they really doing? Let me check their phone, and it grows louder and louder over time. You have to be willing to go back and face the wound, face the spot of emotional turmoil. So I honestly believe that our teens, we are doing them a disservice when we use the word teen as it's a bad word, as though it's their fault or something. We use it in a shameful way, a way to insert shame, and I'm so upset by it. We must stop this. They are perfectly normal and natural. Plus, let's be honest, they are reflections of us. And if we don't like what we're seeing in them, we better be dang sure that we have taken some looks at ourselves and done some work inside of ourselves. What we are is what's going to show up in those whom we've been leading. And if we don't like what we're seeing in our team or our children, we better take a good look at what we've been putting out there from our leadership. I have to share that on Wednesday, this is Friday, my son said to me, he sat through some of my classes for different reasons and some of my workshops and information sessions, and he's taken the tools, the steps and actions for his own recovery many times by this point. And on Wednesday, he said, he had just seen me speak on Tuesday, and he said, Mom, I think I need to do some more completion work. I noticed that you're just really comfortable and confident in front of when you're talking with people or when you're around people, and I want to be more like that. So let me ask you, your teens, are they saying, I see something in you that's valuable and I want to be more like that? Or are they just trying to meet kind of your example for survival because they know you won't approve of them? Are they looking at you saying, I don't want to be anything like that. I don't want to take that into my family. I mean, what is your teen looking at you, thinking and saying? Are they looking at you of a, that's good, I want more of that, I could see how that would be useful in my life? Also, so Thursday, this was yesterday, after practice, he tells me that he uses his tools every single day. You know, being a freshman in high school, he uses his tools every single day with his friends, with people he doesn't know. And I see in his text traffic, yes, I do read his text traffic, and his phone is in my room every single night at 8 o'clock. Without asking, it's just how it's set up. But he said, Mom, I use my tools every single day, and I can see evidence of that in his text traffic. Are we raising kids who know what to do with emotion? It's around them, you guys. And if you especially, do you know what teens are going through? The world has just opened up huge to them. They have other kids around them who are going through hellacious type experiences. And do our kids know what to do with different? No, they usually shame them and bully them and cast them aside and ostracize them, right? Are we equipping our kids to know what to do in life? They know when we are and when we're not. And when we're not, they're learning that they can't fully trust us, that we don't actually really know what we're doing. And so they're going to hope to do things differently in our life. We want them to be unique and individual, but we need to equip them to be able to do that. And they need to start practicing now in your care, where they're open and available for new ideas and new feedback if they want it. They need to be able to fail and know that you're right there versus go be an... That's the pause. I need to pick up my child. But they need to be able to fail while they're in our care and know that we're not going to judge them, criticize them, analyze them, advise them, fix them, cut them down, minimize them. That does not feel good. Kids don't want that. And when we do that, especially, our kids are older and we respond out of fear, so we don't even listen. And they feel we want to advise and analyze and fix them. And they are receiving that as judgment and criticism, so they start to shut down. And we do that repeatedly. Just think about your dynamic with your teen. Who are you aware of? This starts way back when they're little. If we want to raise teens, we've got to stop using the word teen like it's something to be ashamed of. Why are we doing that? It's awful. Shame on you adults for doing it. It's every single day. I hear this word teen as though it's something to be ashamed of, and we have got to change that. And it's going to start with you, and it's going to start with you becoming emotionally fit and well yourself. We can only lead from who we are, what we actually possess, and so we can't change the world unless we're willing to change our own vernacular, right? Join me in this. Let's be different. Let's do some work. We can't let our kids be emotionally fit and well if we aren't. If we want to raise kids who get this, have the best leg up in this world, let's be honest, this world stinks. Well, let's help them navigate it. And they need their heart engaged, not just their head and brain. They're going to see that it's not just what we believe and what we say, but it's what we do. And you can look all around you and see a bunch of people who say a really great story, but their life, what they do, doesn't match. Do you want that to be in you in your home? They have a radar for it. They know. As leaders, let's see, what did I say? In any capacity, lead from inner life to create more of me. Yeah, so I think we already said that we lead, we create, we produce more of what we are. And so if we are not emotionally fit, I apologize. Had a phone call come through. We can only produce more of what we are, and so we have to lead from our inner self, our emotional self. We are anyway, but we're not aware of how that is coming out, of what effect that's really having. So when we lead from a place of emotional fitness and wellness, we lead differently. It's also awareness, right? So if we're not aware, we're going to probably have some undesirable outcomes. So adults, this is a call on you. You have to be willing to put in the time for your own fitness and wellness from the inside. Emotionally, by the way, you could work out all day long at the gym, but that's not going to create an emotionally fit and well kid. And that's not what we want to do. So it requires our emotional fitness and wellness to make more of that. Yeah. So those were my notes there. I hope this has been helpful for you. I hope that it gives you a pause Quit blaming life on your teens. Your teens are reflecting back. If you as an adult learn to hear with your heart, you will understand and be able to see with eyes of compassion that they have so much going on and they're navigating it alone, because all we are doing are advising, analyzing, and criticizing. We're fixing, we're judging, we're minimizing, we're comparing, and we aren't hearing them with dignity and respect. So they're left carrying the burden of their whole exhausting experience alone. Is that the life you want for your kid? I think not. So I love you all. Thanks for joining. What do we have? I have my child getting in the car here. Our role is to guide and mentor, adolescents. Agreed. I love the child's awareness. Yes, thank you. He's awesome. What a great reflection of the work that I do and have done. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, everybody, thanks for joining. My child just got in the car, 5th grader. So we're going to go ahead and go. Let's be kind. Let's be kind and loving, and let's put in our own work. By the way, 30% off for January for any enrollment expires January 31st. So if you have a class you've been wondering, you still have a few days to save a little bit on your enrollment. I do a once a year thing. I have 2-day workshops available. I can create one specifically for you and your crew, especially your work crew, a school crew, your family crew, you name it. I can create a 2-day spot for you. And I think that's all. Go follow JC, everybody. I love you. I'll see you next time. Bye.